Hello and very good evening to you. Very good evening if you're watching in the UK. Very good morning and very good afternoon and very good middle of the night, depending on what area of the world you're looking at us from. So I'm Deborah Shaw. If you haven't seen us before, this is the Half Yard Sewing Club live session, which we're going to bring you every single month. Let me tell you a little bit about the Half Yard Sewing Club first of all, because it is all really quite new for us, so you may be watching for the very first time. So basically, we are a subscription website. Every month, you're going to have a project with a video and downloadable patterns, and it's interactive. We wanted to bring you something where everybody can be involved. So you can be involved now. We're live. Come and have a chat. You can email. You can send pictures. I really want you to be part of this sewing club. Now, not only is there the free project every month, there's more projects. We keep adding them in. There's hints and tips and techniques. Everything that's on that website you can keep there for a whole 12 months. So it's not a rush to make everything within that first month. You can come back to it. You can ask questions and you can be involved in it as well. And of course, we're worldwide. We've got so many now subscribers from all over the world. And no doubt we'll be talking to a few of you, like Jennifer in Orkney. Hi, Jennifer. And hi to Leah and hi to Lynn. Let me know where you all are. I know a lot of you are staying up into the early hours to watch us this morning. So do come through and let me know where you are. And we'll say a big hello to you. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Lynn Jones. Hi, Angie. And yeah, come and let me know. Now, I've got a few questions to answer for you. I can't answer every single one of them, but they will be answered at some point on the website. I'll explain that as we go through the questions. And this session, we're going to be chatting about our feet. Our sewing machine presser feet, because I've had lots of questions about what those feet are and how they're going to work. So I've got a whole load of feet in front of me here. I'm going to talk you through what they are and what they do, and then on the website going forward we'll have a little section in the tips and techniques section of the website that will explain in more detail and show you videos of how to actually use them. So hi to Margaret. Right, so let's get going. We'll start off with some of your questions that have come through. I've had a couple of questions actually about the oilcloth from the oilcloth bag, which was one of the three members' monthly projects from previous. So Sue Matt and Alicia Green have asked about the oilcloth that was used in the bag that you had from my So Brilliant Bags book. Where did it come from? And any hints and tips? The problem with recommending where a fabric actually comes from my books is the distance, if you like, from writing the book to when it's actually published. So the fabric that I use might not now be available, but it was from Dunelm. So if you're in the UK, that's where I got it from. It was a leaf design. I don't know whether they still do it or not. And what kind of hints and tips do I have? If you can, go into a store and feel your fabric, no matter what kind of fabric it is, that's probably the better option for you. So with an oilcloth, it's not actually oilcloth. It's a laminated cotton. It's called oilcloth because it's a waterproof fabric. Originally, oilcloth was literally a heavy cotton that was waxed or oiled to make it waterproof. But we're a bit more modern than that these days. But they do come in different weights. So the one that I used on the bag for from the book was really heavy and really stiff. Maybe you wanted something a bit lighter and a bit softer. So that's the best advice I can give you. And also, you'll need a non-stick foot. We're looking at feet in a bit, aren't we? So we'll have a look at a non-stick foot and how that actually works. I forget to scroll. Do apologise. Oh, here we go. Hi, Alan. How are you tonight? I'm very well, thank you, Alan. How's yourself? Glad your Wi-Fi is back on. Yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere here. We have a bit of a problem. Hi from Cornwall. Hi, Valerie. Evening, Debbie from Helen. And Dawn says hi, and Teddy says hi, and Catherine is using her date a bit iffy. Oh, hopefully you're still with us. And Sarah Ann, and to Margaret, and to Dawn, oh hi Dawn, and to Polly, and Paula, and Alan's in Staybridge, and Carol, and Alicia, oh hi Alicia, That's Alicia Green. Alicia, yeah, hi. Hope I answered your question. I hope you managed to see that in time. And Margaret and Sarah, and in Tenerife. Oh, I bet the weather's nice out there. And Dawn in Suffolk, and Gail says hi to everybody. And Dawn in Bedford, and hi Trish. Lisbon, oh wow, Bristol, says Paula. Peterborough, says Stephanie. Are you going to the show this weekend at the showground? There is a crafting live show coming up on Friday and Saturday, so hopefully if you're anywhere near in the area, you can pop along to the showground. I think it's only £5 to get in, and come and say hello while you're there. Polly's in Essex, and Marge is in South Yorkshire. Hello. Right. Now, Karen, who asked about where to measure your body for dressmaking, we're going to start including simple dressmaking on the site going forward, and measuring is definitely going to be one of the first things that we'll include in there, because measuring is the first thing that you do before you choose your dressmaking pattern. So we will be covering that. Carol Smith's got a wrinkly problem. It's a fleece. Fusible fleece, if you read the instructions on it, particularly the Pellon and the heat and bond ones, will say to iron with a cloth over the top of your fabric with the fleece underneath with a medium heat and lots of steam. And you iron it on and it looks lovely, and then gradually it starts to age. It wrinkles all over. Try it without the steam and try it in a cooler heat setting first. If it does wrinkle, it's really easy. Go over it really quickly on a warm setting, peel your fabric off and stretch it and go back over again. It's something that I've been meaning to get in touch with the manufacturers about, because I think their instructions can be wrong. So don't go hot and don't go heat, and see if that works, because it seems to be the steam that causes the problem there. Rosalie wants to see free motion embroidery. That again is something that we're going to be covering. And Mary and Emma, I hope you're feeling better. Norma wants to make a bag out of stretch fabric. I'd like to take Bobbin's favourite toy in the world away from her, but some things don't happen. Oh, she's not quite. Stretch fabric for a bag. You can use stretch fabric for a bag, but you'll need to put some interfacing on the back of it, because otherwise you're going to have a bouncy bag and it'll all distort and it won't take any weight because it'll just stretch. So stop your fabric stretching by buying some interfacing or stabiliser that irons onto the back around about the same weight as your fabric. Iron that on, and then you've got a stretch fabric that doesn't stretch anymore. Then you can make what you like with it. Who else have we got? County Durham is Anne-Marie, and Judith says, looking forward to learning something new. Hope so. And Mary and Vanessa and Stephanie and Deborah from Paul and Kim and Catherine and, oh, hi Jean. Jean's in Birmingham. And Angie. Hi Bobbin. No doubt she'll be paying us a visit later. And Richard, hi Debbie, we're watching in Winchester. Right, sewing machine feet. There's hundreds of them, and a lot of the time when you buy them, they don't come with instructions, so you kind of have to have a little bit of a guesswork. So I've taken out I say the main ones that I use. There's a lot more than what I actually use here, but I thought I'd just talk you around and identify what all these different feet are for. And then on the website at some point I'll get around to actually filming each foot and how you use it on your sewing machine. So let's start off with your regular sewing machine foot, your standard, your universal. It's basically the foot that is going to be on your sewing machine when you first get it home, and it's the one that you use most of all. But it's also, these feet look different depending on what kind of machine that you have. So this one is pretty standard. It's got a little groove in the centre here, and that's the centre to follow your stitch line. You can move your needle from side to side, which means that you can do decorative stitches. And it's got a clear window at the front here so you can see where you're going. But the big surface area also helps to keep the fabric flat. Now, a lot of your sewing machine feet have got a black button at the side there. Not all of them, but some of them do. And that's for thicker fabric or when you're starting to sew on a seam. And basically, when you press that lever in, a little spike sticks out the side, and the the ankle on your sewing machine should have a hole in it that bar goes into, and that helps to level the foot. So as you start with your presser foot up, you press that button in, then you lower your foot and it keeps the foot level. It will pop back out again when you start sewing. But most machines will have something that looks like this. They may have a V shape down the front here, and that's the foot that you're going to use most of all. Is that what you think, Bob? Yep. Another foot that is worth investing in is a 1/4 inch foot. Not just for quilting. A lot of projects that you're going to be making have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Only use this with a straight stitch because it has one hole. So if you use a decorative stitch, your foot will go from side to side and your needle will break. So straight stitch only, but the distance between where the needle goes in here and the edge of the foot is a 1/4 inch. It is a 1/4 inch. I don't care what you say. Don't. No. Not arguing. Nope. I know what I'm talking about. Nope. Know what I'm talking about. Should. Some of them, and they do look a little bit different, have markings on the side as well. So you can actually measure. There you go. This is favourite toy in the whole wide world. Come here. It just happens to be very noisy. Come here. No, come here. This is it. It did have a rope going through it. She's torn it to pieces. It's absolutely filthy. It's the noisiest thing ever. And she absolutely adores it. Come here and say hello. Come on. 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 Do anything for this. You come in. Come on. Come on then. Come say hello. I got your toy. No, she's just going to heavy breathe on my legs now. If I throw this in that direction, hopefully one husband will come and pick it up and take it into the kitchen so she won't make any noise. Maybe not. Back to our sewing machine feet. When I change from one camera to the other, by the way, there is a blink. So the screen does go black very shortly before it comes back again. So that's not you, it's me. So here we go. Where were we? 1/4 inch foot. Measuring a 1/4 inch from the point where the needle goes into the side of the foot, but also sometimes having measurements on the side of the foot as well, so you can measure a 1/4 inch away from where you're sewing. Toy has now gone underneath something and she's scratching to get it back again. So this is a stitch in the ditch foot or an edge to edge foot, and basically we have a little guide underneath the foot here, and there's a couple of things you can do with that. This can run down a seam. So if you're quilting and you want to stitch in the ditch, which is sewing over an existing seam, that runs into the centre of the seam and your stitch goes in here. Or if you're joining two pieces of fabric together, you put either raw edge up against that same bar and do a zigzag stitch or some kind of decorative stitch to sew over the top. So for instance, if I'm quilting on something like this piece, which Melissa has made, you will run that bar, as you can see there, straight down the centre of the seam, and the stitch that you've chosen to use goes either side. While you're there as well, I'm just going to step back a little bit. You've got your 1/4 inch foot here, which again, when you're sewing anything like echo quilting, as this quilt is, you've got your exact 1/4 inch seam allowance across the side there. So I just thought I'd show you that while we're there. Should be bound. Have you ever done any free motion embroidery? There's a few different types of feet for free motion embroidery, depending on your sewing machine. This is something that we're going to be covering next year as well. And just to give you an example, of what free motion embroidery can look like. It's this. It's scribbling with your needle and thread. I love doing this. It's like drawing with thread. I love the look of it. I just think it looks so modern, and it's so quick, and it's so easy to do. So this is the foot that you're going to use. So that's one look, if you like, or you can have something like this, and some of them have got open toes. These are closed toes. And basically, they've got levers on the side here, or this one's got a spring, which goes over the screw that holds the needle in place on the side of the machine, and it allows the foot to bounce. So you'll lower your feed dogs, or you'll cover them over, so the machine isn't feeding the fabric through, and you're going to use your hands to move that fabric around underneath the foot, and that's what's called free motion. That's why that's called free motion embroidery. Oh, hi Lisa from Texas, and Karen from Derby, and Helen from Plymouth, and Sandra from Tamworth, and Linda from Hemel Hempstead. There's loads of you here tonight. I love it when we join with so many. More feet. A foot that I use an awful lot is a walking foot, and this is perfect if you're sewing through lots of layers of fabric. You've got your feed dogs underneath your sewing machine, and they're going to pull your fabric through. This foot, in effect, gives you feed dogs on the top of your sewing machine, and these little teeth here munch away your fabric and feed it through at the top. They're sometimes called even feed teeth. So this goes around your needle clamp, and as the sewing machine works and the needle goes up and down, as you can see, those little teeth move the fabric from the top. So this is great for quilting. So if you're sewing through multiple layers of fabric, that's going to be perfect for you. But it's also good for curtain making, or if you're sewing through different weights of fabric. So for instance, with curtains, you've probably got a heavier outer fabric than you have your lining fabric, and you can measure absolutely perfectly from top to bottom, and you sew down the seam, and when you get there, the fabric doesn't quite match. It's because your machine is feeding one layer of fabric quicker than the second layer because they're different weights. So if you have a walking foot, it feeds them both through at the same time. So no more frustration there. You've been a good girl now. You've been a good girl. You've been a good girl. Right, where are we? So we've done that one. Button placement and buttonhole feet. So these two kind of go hand in hand. Depending on what kind of sewing machine you have, you may have a one-step or a four-step buttonhole stitch. Now this one is for a one-step buttonhole. You have the button that sits in the back here, and the distance between, or the size of your button here, creates a distance between these two prongs here, as you can see. So a button sits in there. You'll have a lever on the side of your sewing machine that when you pull it down, it will stop in between those 2 points. And that's where your machine turns around, goes in the opposite direction, and gives you the perfect size. See, Bobbin, you're making Jean jump. She's jumping in Birmingham. Stop it. Your button placement foot goes on your machine with the blue silicone bit facing forward, so that's where it snaps on, and the blue bit is non-slip, so it grips onto the button and stops it slipping. So Gwen's got a dog who's a fan of yours, Bobbin. She went. She is not a pig. What else have we got? Non-stick. This is something that is imperative if you're going to be sewing with laminated or oilcloth fabrics. Sandra says hello, Bob. She's not listening now. They come in different colours. The one on my Janome is grey. This one just happens to be white. But they're non-stick. So they've got a Teflon coating on the bottom of them, basically. So when you're sewing laminates, if you're sewing with a metal foot, your metal foot will stick to your fabric and you won't get anywhere with it. But with a non-stick foot, it slides backwards and forwards really easily. Phyllis says, my dog Alfie is looking for his squeaky toy because Bobbin's being naughty. Sorry about that. She's gone now. Hi Debbie from Diane, and Sharon says hello from Wolverhampton. And Deborah says hello, and Dorte, is that how you pronounce it, from Denmark, hello to you too. And Leanne Smith, thank you very much. From Cambridgeshire, Caroline. Wendy's in Somerset. Deborah's in Birmingham. Oh, you might know Jean. Margaret says hi. And June. June from Kidderminster. Oh, you're all quite close. You could have a sewing club, couldn't you? Right, so there's your non-stick. So it's a non-stick. So you've done edge to edge. Over edge. This is another one of the feet that your machine may come with. And basically, you have a little bar here that as you're sewing, you'll have an over edge stitch on your sewing machine, and the over edge stitch will take the needle from one side to the other with that little bar. That helps to keep the edge of your fabric flat. And the edge of your fabric will go up against that pointy bit there, and that it looks like an ice skating blade almost, but that helps to tuck the raw edges of your fabric under to make the edges neat. So if you don't have an overlocker and you're not in the market for one, then that's a good idea to finish off your seams. Oh, this is a rolled hem, which comes in different sizes. You get some really big ones of these as well, actually. So feed your fabric through first. So if you can, start off the side of the edge of your fabric, and these little spirals inside here. Let me just turn that over so you can see. Literally roll the fabric around as you're sewing, and you can get a tiny little hem. So you could actually make a hem that's about 1/8 of an inch. I think the smaller one's 1/8 of an inch, and the larger one is 1/4 of an inch there. So that's it. There's no way you'd be able to make a tiny hem like that if you hadn't got the right foot. So those are worth investing in. If you only use them once, well worth the investment. What's we got? This is a handy one. This is a foot with a measuring guide on the side. So it goes up to 1.25 inches. So you can position your needle, if you can go backwards and forwards with the needle position on your sewing machine. If you start with your needle here on the end one and use that as a guide, then you're sewing, if I just mark that, 1.25 inches away from the needle. So if you're doing pin tucks, if you're making I don't know, if you're doing echo quilting on your quilts, then that's quite a handy one to have. To be honest, it's not one of those feet that insist you go out and buy, or I'm going to say you're going to find that really, really useful. You've got to have one of those. But if it does come with your sewing machine, or if you buy a box of lots of different feet for your machine, that's what it's for. Because again, they're not always identified, are they? One of the feet that you will probably have with the sewing machine is a satin stitch foot. Oh, Jackie from Cockgrave. And Wendy and Rosalind. Always a pleasure to see you. Taught me so much. I love your fabric. Oh, I'm coming back. Wait, bear with me. And they make it beautifully. How about Christmas fabrics next year? June. Everybody starts Christmas in June. I've got a range of fabrics coming out with the Craft Cotton Company. I think there'll be 10 of them. They're not signed off yet. And they're quilting fabrics again, so they'll be the Korean, excellent quality, and they are Christmas baubles and robins and musical notes, but with Christmas baubles incorporated into them. So I've submitted everything, and everybody seems to like them very much. So that's going to be in June. But my next fabric range is actually coming out in April, which I'm really excited about. It's still in the garden, lots to see in my garden. So, but this one's all based around the pond. It's called the lily pad. So there is the lily pad and the frogs, and we get the occasional kingfisher. There's even my garden furniture in there because we've got the table and chairs right next to it. I was really excited about that. And the colours are kind of teal and burnt orange. I don't know if I should tell you all of this. Well, I told you now, haven't I? Back to our feet. This is a satin stitch foot, which is a bit out of focus for a minute. There we go. It's difficult because it's all white on white. This one is clear, so you can see where you're going. But it's also got two metal bars that run underneath the foot, and they lift the foot away from your stitch very slightly, because satin stitches, you tend to go over and over and over the stitch, and it's quite raised. Oh, Alan's got me fabrics. Well done, Alan. And he's making a round wreath out of them. I'd love to post pictures, Alan. I'm sure you will. Love my foot. Oh, thank you. Hi, Anne. Anne's having problems logging in. Oh, Olivia will sort you out, Anne, don't worry. This one looks similar, but it's completely open here. So this is, again, it's perfect for applique and it's perfect for satin stitching, and it gives you a nice wide gap so that you can see where you're going, you can see what you're doing. It's called an open-toed foot. Great for quilting stitches. It basically gives you a lot of visibility. Straight stitch foot, which you'd think, oh, that's a quarter of an inch foot. It could be, because this measures a quarter of an inch here and you've got your markings on there. But a straight stitch foot has a lot of surface area on the bottom of it, and that helps to keep your fabric flat. If you're doing a lot of straight stitching, some of your sewing machines will come with a separate straight stitch plate. So you know where you've got your throat plate underneath your sewing machine needle with all the markings on and everything, and it's got a wide gap for the needle to go in as it goes backwards and forwards for maybe a zigzag or decorative stitch. A straight stitch plate doesn't. It's smooth and it has one hole, and use that with your straight stitch foot and you get a really nice finish to your work. Again, not something you need to rush out and buy, but if your sewing machine's got one of those, that's what it is. Well, I haven't got a zipper foot. But I do have an invisible zipper foot. Sometimes these are plastic, sometimes they're metal. This happens to be a metal one. And it's got two grooves on the opposite side. You use one groove at a time, but the foot's actually designed to open up the roll that curves around the back of the zip. So it opens it up and you can sew really close to the teeth of the zip. Hi, Jackie! And oh, Poplin, what a lovely name. Watching with Harriet, her granddaughter. Anne, hope you're sorted now. Are any of these feet coming for the Butterick sewing machine? I keep asking. I don't know. They're bringing hopefully a quarter-inch foot, because they've only got the walking foot as a spare at the moment. I have a meeting at Create and Craft tomorrow afternoon, so I shall pose the question and I shall let you know. We've got more though. A roller foot. Now a roller foot, it has literally got a little roller, and if you are sewing again through thicker weights of fabric, oh, we've gone all out of focus again, bear with me, we'll be back in a minute, confusing my camera. If you're sewing over laminates, this is almost like a walking foot in miniature, so it helps the fabric to roll through from the top at the same time as the bottom. Sandra says, would I recommend using feet that are made to go with the sewing machine every single time? Whatever brand of sewing machine you have, when you look at the instructions or when you get in touch with the manufacturers and ask if you can use any of your feet on them, they'll say no, only the ones that are recommended to use with the sewing machine. So I have to say that. But try them. This actually, I've got loads of feet. I've bought a big box of lots of different feet. Many of them I shall never use, but I like to have everything that's available just in case. And those are universal feet. I think they've come from China. There were loads of them in the box, and 75% of them fit my Butterick sewing machine. They don't fit my Janome, but they do fit that sewing machine. So I think if it says universal, then make sure you can send them back if they don't fit. Who else have we got? Deborah says, bought your fabric bundle, still looking at them at the minute, don't want to cut into. I have my own fabrics that I don't cut into. What we like. Oh, hi Tina. Oh, these are my girls, my design team girls. So it's nice to hear from you. Alan's scared of sewing leather. To be honest, Alan, I'm not a fan of leather. It comes off animals. But if you are sewing through leather, use a leather needle. A leather needle has a chisel-shaped tip to it. So instead of, if you're using a universal needle or a denim needle on leather, it's round. So it'll puncture a round hole and it'll take your thread through that round hole. And the leather will try to close around it and it'll stretch your thread and it won't pull through easily. So if you have a leather needle which has the chisel shape on the end, it makes a small slit in the leather so that the thread can pull through freely, and leather, being leather as it is a skin, will close back around the stitch when it's finished. And you may need a roller foot or a walking foot or a non-stick foot when you're sewing with that from the top. So I hope that helps. Nancy, so the rolling foot helps with pleather. It does help with pleather. It helps with plastic, it helps with PU, it helps with pulling, it helps with laminates, and it helps with leather as well. Phyllis says, it's a bit noisy in our house. Alfie's been whinging for his squeaky toy. Oh, she loves the tutorials. Thank you. Janet says it's really useful. Sandra says thank you. Cully says busy making some baby gifts. Oh, who for? We've got news. Denise says I've been sewing a while now with all your help, watching your videos and loving your books. Thank you. Hi Sam. Ooh, she said. With 4 O's. Ooh. What's the bag in the left on the middle shelf? Your left is my right. Oh, the satchel. The satchel and the satchel. The satchel is actually one of your projects, which is coming up in February. Can't wait for that one. You love that one. Useful about the flavour. Thank you. Been busy making advent calendars, has Sarah. Well, remember to post pictures when you finish making them, because I love to see what you've been making. Somebody has the nerve to walk past our house. Have they got a dog as well? I think they might have a dog as well. I know. You finished? Yeah? You did? Have they gone? Have they gone now? Yeah. I think we're safe. You going? You coming? What are you doing? So concerned. This is a nice little foot, because we haven't finished yet. We've got lots of feet to show you still. This one is for applying ribbon. So what you're going to do is to feed the ribbon. There's a groove underneath there, and it goes underneath and through the bar at the back there. And then as you sew, you can sew a decorative stitch because the needle goes from side to side. It literally sews the ribbon in place. Clever, isn't it? And they come in lots of different sizes as well. And while we're there talking about embellishments, how about this one, which again comes in different sizes? This is a beading foot. So as you're sewing beading onto a garment or whatever, use a zigzag foot again, and the stitch will go from side to side. And that it just stitches that. You know, if you've got little ones that are, or big ones, that are in a dance class, then that would be absolutely perfect for embellishments. And you can get a similar kind of thing for sewing sequins on as well. Oh, Cynthia, you've got a problem with your fleeces. She says, I find fleece fabric a pain to sew. Any tips? Yeah, you're going to need a vacuum cleaner and you're going to need one of those sticky rollers, because when you're sewing fleece or when you're cutting through fleece, it gets everywhere. Everybody's a teddy bear by the time you finish sewing. If you're sewing arms and legs onto a toy, she uses dental floss. That's a really good idea. So when you're going straight through the body so that you've still got movement, because it's very difficult to break dental floss. That's a really good idea. Fleece. Fleece is knitted the majority of the time. So use fleece as you would a stretch fabric. So you are going to need stretch needles, sometimes called ballpoint needles, sometimes called stretch needles. These are the same things. If you can use a twin needle, all the better, because a twin needle will automatically give you a stitch which is stretchy, because on the front you'll have 2 rows of stitches, and on the back the stitch goes from one side to another, so it zigzags. So sometimes they're called ballpoints and sometimes they're just called stretchers. Even if you're using a single needle for any kind of stretch fabric, use a ballpoint or a stretch needle. And if you find that your seams are puckering a little bit, then try using some tearaway stabilizer on the back of the seam. So it kind of stabilizes your fabric and stops it from stretching as you're sewing. And it was in the last live Facebook, actually, wasn't it, where I was using spray starch on stretch fabric to stop it curling as well. So that may help as well on your fleece. Right. Blind hemming. Haven't looked at that one yet, have we? Blind hemming feet vary from machine to machine. This is quite a standard one. You will use your blind hemming foot. Again, I'll try and get all of these onto the website at some point. Use your blind hemming stitch, and this is actually adjustable. So you can move it from one side to another. Some feet aren't adjustable. I personally like the adjustable ones. But there is a knack to using these. So I'll try and do a video of that one. Angie says, Debbie, your iron product that turns your fabric into waterproof, how do you apply it, please? Right, that... I just put my arm on there, and when I lifted it up, I was covered in feet. That is... oh gosh, what's it called? There's a brand that, I'll think of this, that does iron-on laminates. I'm sure one of you will let you know if you're here. It's got a rough side to it and a smooth side. The rough side has the adhesive, so that goes on top of your fabric, on the right side of your fabric, and then you'll need another piece of fabric to go over the top of that and iron it. Iron from the centre and push it outwards, and the laminate will stick to your fabric. If your iron's not too hot, if you have it on a medium heat, you can iron directly on top of the laminate. It may look as though you may think that it's going to melt all over the bottom of your iron, but it doesn't. It is quite withstanding. If it goes wrinkly, then warm iron again and just push the wrinkles out, and that's it. That's as easy as it is. So hope that's helped. Oh, it's bugging me now. I can't think what it was called. Where have you gone? Wendy. Oh, a Labrador Sam is the same. In the garden. Oh, the garden is his kingdom. Oh. Janet's got lots of my books and DVDs. Thank you very much. I spend time, my husband says, waste time looking through them for inspiration. That's not a waste of time. That's the best way to spend time. I had a friend of mine, it was a few years ago now, said that he thought sewing was a complete waste of time. And I just thought if sewing wasn't around, you'd be wearing bearskins or you'd be naked, wouldn't you? Now is sewing a waste of time? Sarah is quite new to sewing, but the first book she purchased were mine. Oh, thank you. Very clear instructions. Thank you very much for all of those. And Sue says, hi, hello. Hi. Oh, hi, Pammy. Pellon has one. It does? The fusible fleece. Jackie. Lamifix, that's it. Thank you. I knew you'd come up trumps. Lamifix is the iron-on laminating stuff. Tina, thank you. Any advice for sewing block mojo? Any advice for sewing? Oh, any advice for sewing block mojo? Just not here. Oh, if we're talking sewing quilting blocks, yeah, I have. Oh yeah, come January, block of the month, don't you know? Villainous Lamifix, thanks, Helen. Sewing feeds your soul is true. Christine says hi, and Wendy says years ago you never told anyone you made it. Now I proudly say so. It's true, isn't it? When I was younger, because my mum did a lot of sewing, I hated it. We had quite a strict uniform at school, at the grammar school, don't you know? And we had PE kits, and they got these tiny little pleats, they're like kilts in dark red, and I thought they were so nice. When you ran, they were flicked up and everything. They were all really girly. Mine was made from Travera, if you remember. It had these big box pleats all the way around, and it was really heavy, and it just wasn't the same as everybody else's. So I wore shorts instead. I hated that skirt. Had knitted socks that my auntie used to knit, and I hated it. But now, as you said, I'd be so proud to say I made that. And I think it's very different now, isn't it? I think people appreciate things a lot more. I'm nearly out of feet. I do have a gathering foot to show you. And then I think we've been through everything. So again, we will do this video shortly anyway. Sarah says, any tips for measuring, hemming feet? A hemming foot. Sorry, I must have missed your question on here. I've got my daughter holding up a piece of paper. She's making sure I don't miss anything. A hemming foot. Your standard foot, that's the one that I use most of all. You know when I showed you the rolled hem feet? You can actually get some really wide ones, so you can make a half-inch hem or a quarter of an inch hem. Not readily available, so you have to have a look on the internet. You can use, let me come back again, your blind hem foot as a hemming foot. If you use it without the blind hem stitch, again you can adjust this right out. So if I move the needle over to this position, so my needle's here, and I'm putting the edge of my hem against here, then that's about a quarter of an inch seam allowance, so that's a good one to use. There's a few feet actually, you don't have to use an over edge stitch with the over edge foot. You could use this little bit in here as a guide as well. But the one that I wanted to show you finally here is the gathering foot, and these are, they're kind of angled, so when they go on, they actually push the fabric at a different rate from the top through to the bottom, so it automatically gathers. And there is a way of feeding, that's what this groove here is for, of feeding your fabric through here in two layers, so the top layer is fed through at a quicker rate than the bottom layer. I think that's the right way around. So it automatically gathers one piece of fabric, but it doesn't another. But again, that's something that I will try and cover when I start making the videos for the website. So I think we are about finished here. I've completely lost you on my page here, so apologies if I'm not answering your questions that are just coming in. Don't know what's happening. We've got lots more projects coming up in November. Oh, hopefully you've been making your advent calendars. I'd love to see pictures of your advent calendars, or whatever else you've been using your applique designs for. As I remember, I made the cushion cover from the robin. Maybe you've been using it to make three-dimensional decorations. I'd love to see those. Coming up in November, we're going to do a little bit of quilting with the Flying Geese quilts. Your free project, or your monthly project, is going to be a quilt. This is Flying Geese, believe it or not, but it's a very simple way of creating curves from straight lines. And there's a tutorial as well to make the cushion cover that we see here. So if you haven't quilted before, this is a really lovely way of creating a quilt very quickly, but it actually looks a lot more difficult than it is. So that's going to be coming up. If you've got any requests, we've got a whole long list of members' requests coming through, and I'm gradually getting through them. Having lots of questions about dressmaking. So yes, dressmaking is on the agenda. It is something that we're going to be starting on very soon. And yes, we are going to be starting off with how to measure yourself as well. And we will be covering how to adjust patterns, because they're never quite right to fit you, are they? So we will be doing that as well. So I'm going to see you again live in a month's time. In between times, keep your questions coming, keep your requests coming through. If you're on Facebook, and I'm saying if you're on Facebook because I know you are now, but we will carry this video on the website, and it may pop up on YouTube as well. So if you're watching now and you don't do Facebook, you don't need to do Facebook to be able to be a member of the club and enjoy all of those privileges and benefits and hints and tips and advice, and being part of that club that loads of you are enjoying. So do come through and send your comments and your questions and come and join us anyway. So it's been a lovely evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Lovely morning wherever you are. Lovely afternoon maybe. Thank you for joining us from all over the world. And I shall see you again in around about a month's time.